Hey, what's going on everybody? ScottDogGaming here. Thank you very much for joining us. Different video altogether today. I was speaking to a couple of the guys that I collab with and they hadn't come across this, so I thought I'd just do a quick video on it because it's bound to help out some more people who use Sony Vegas for their rendering and for their editing and put out a lot of videos. So essentially this tutorial is about showing you how to batch render. Now, batch render is the ability to render multiple videos without any manual interaction between one finishing rendering and the next one starting. That's all it is. It's the opportunity to allow your PC to do the rendering and you not having to wait for one to finish before you start the next one, which is a fantastic little tool, a fantastic little tip, and comes in very, very handy to me. The other day I left it rendering 22 videos because I'd done a huge amount of recording, never got around to editing it all, put them all in the timeline, did the bits I needed to do, and was able to render all of them. So let's get down to it. I know these tutorials tend to have lots of rabbiting and then no real context, so let me show you what it is. It's really simple. Essentially, in our timeline here, as you can see, we've got two separate videos. One is just sliced up out of a video, and this is another part of that same video. However, this one has my intro on as well. So what I'm going to show you to do, you do all your editing like you would normally. Now, one top tip on this is save often when you're doing this. When you end up with 20 videos in the same timeline, Vegas can do its usual sort of crashing quite easily. So we've finished editing all of our videos. You might have 2, you might have 100. You then double click on your video and that brings up these little yellow markers. Then what we're going to do is we're going to press R and then type number 1. And hit enter. What that's done is you can see it's put these green markers around it, and it's these are essentially classed as a region, hence the R key. So if we move on to our second video, and I just want to show you this one separately, because one thing to bear in mind when rendering these videos and when marking these videos up for regions, if I double click on it, it just highlights the one part of the video that I've double clicked on. So in this instance, I've got my intro before it as well. So I grab the yellow marker and I drag it out to make sure it's encompassing the whole video. I press R again and I press number 2. And there we go. We've now got our 2 areas of the video marked up. What do we do then? So there's 2 things. One thing to remember is always go down to switches and disable resample. Now up here, what I've got, and I'll show you these in a different tutorial if you want to see them. Up here is I've got a little script, and this is what we're going to use for batch rendering, but this is disable resample. So I'd press this button, it would go through every clip on the timeline and disable the resample. So you haven't got to do it yourself, which is great news. We've got normalize all. This is another one that I use quite a lot. Basically just it sounds out my or produces my sound to be at level wavelengths for each clip, which is great. A couple more up here. We've got add an effect to all, so if I want the same effect applied to everything. This one I quite like. This one, if I zoom into this clip as well and click, let's just zoom out slightly, and click fade in, fade out, as you can see it's put a second long fade at the start and end of these clips. And you can do that for audio, video, and all the rest of them. And then up here I've also got batch render. Now, if you want to see how to get these scripts, how to apply them, how to get them in the toolbar, let me know and I'll do a separate tutorial on them. However, we're talking about batch rendering. So if I go to tools and I go down to scripting, this is where you'll find all of these scripts. And as you can see, normalize all is down here. The one we're looking for is batch render. So if I click on batch render, that will bring up this window. Now I apologize, because I've got a 4K monitor, Vegas is doing something a bit silly with this screen and I don't know why. I'm going to quickly change where this video is saving, because actually I save it to a separate place over here. I'm going to change the name, so we're going to put that as test and just save it there. So hopefully, come on Vegas, there we go. So it's now saving to the same location that I normally render to. If I then go down to the normal video option that I choose to do my rendering, which is Sony AVC, if I click the little plus button, it will show me any saved profiles I've got. So if you've got a saved profile that you use for your videos, it should be in here. In here, I've clicked my 60 frames per second. Now, this is where the screen goes a bit weird. What I want to do is I want to click on this render regions radio button. That will make sure that it's rendering this region, then this region. And behind it is my OK button. Here is the cancel button. You can't see them, but if I click the OK button, it then starts rendering. As you can see, it's going through this first clip first. It's rendering that. It's going to do it fairly quickly, so I won't put a cut in here. We'll just quickly whiz through it. It's now at almost 50%. This game, actually, just while we're waiting for this, is called Reigns. There'll be a video up fairly shortly. I haven't edited it yet, but there'll be a video up fairly shortly on this. It's a mobile game and a Steam game, and it's a good fun little card game if you want something to entertain you, if you're going to sitting on a train or going to work or bored at work or something like that. It's a nice little game. Good. Basically, it's swipe left or right to make a decision. I wonder what that sounds like. But it's a good little fun game if you want to check that out. And here you can see obviously where our regions have encompassed our intro. That's put that on first, and then straight onto the video again, and it's rendering this second one out as well. So if I go to my location where these get saved, as you can see, I've now got test number 1, which is finished, and test number 2, which is still ongoing. So if I bring this down here, we're at 70%. I'm just going to show you that test number 1 has worked successfully. There you go, you can see that. And then hopefully this one's about to finish, and we can just see that number 2.
It's the first I've seen it. It's on
has also worked successfully. And there you go, that is how you do it. So you could put a number of videos in the toolbar. Remember, when you're selecting, you press R, then type a 1, a 2, a 3, chronological order as you go through the videos. Makes it easier when you're then uploading all of those videos, because they'll finish in order and they'll have the identifier at the end. And that is that. That's how it works. If you want to know anything, please leave me a comment, a question in the comments. That's fine. If you want to see more on Vegas and how I use it, I mean, I'm not claiming to be an expert actually with Vegas. They're just things that I picked up over the time I've been doing YouTube. And when I found out other people didn't know about this, I thought it might well help. So if you enjoyed that, please let me know. If you want to see more tutorials, then let me know. And please hit the like button, subscribe button, follow us on Twitter at ScottDogGaming. We'll see you again soon. Thank you.